I really want to make this video for you, but I'm having computer problems. I'm getting that DPC watchdog violation in Windows 8.1. Just started about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Never had a problem before. Didn't do anything different with my system. Didn't download anything. Didn't go to any questionable websites. Have a good virus checker, malware checker. No idea. I've done a bunch of things to try to repair it. I don't have a lot of confidence that I'm going to get through this video, in which case you'll never see it. You'll never know, but I really do want to make this phone here for you. And the reason that I want to do it is because I'm going to use a mixture of subdivision surfaces on the sides here and on the main body, but I'm going to use just a single flat plane to do the screen and the front panel here, so that I can do booleans in order to put in these little holes, and it's a lot easier that way. And so I wanted to sort of mix the two together. I sort of did this in another video, but I wanted to complete this phone for you. So we're going to see if I can get through this. I'm going to be saving more frequently, but if my my desktop software, video capturing, screen capturing software crashes, I'm probably just going to give up. All right. In the meantime, this is what I'm going to try and make. Obviously, it's sort of based on an iPhone, but it's a lot thicker than an iPhone. So I don't know how much fun it would be to carry this thing around, but we're going to model it anyhow. So, and one thing I should say as well is it's based off somewhat of my own design. I drew this diagram, and I'm going to model sort of based off of that, and I'll provide, if I get through this video, I'll provide this image for you to download in case you want to follow along with this video. This is not a tutorial. I am not a Blender expert by any means. I'm a relative beginner, maybe just a little bit past beginner level. I'll try to go relatively slow and talk about what I'm doing. I might forget that and speed up here and there, but hopefully you can follow what I'm doing, because I won't be doing anything earth-shattering. All right, so I'm coming over here to Blender, version 2.76, a bit of an older version. I'm scared to upgrade too, because I'm afraid it's going to make my system unstable. It's just, I feel very not confident right now, and I don't like that. We all need our computers to work. But anyways, I am in the default startup screen, although I have switched over to Cycles Render so that I can hopefully use my GPU compute with my NVIDIA GeForce card. Anyways, what I'm going to do is hit A to deselect everything, and hit A to select everything here. I'm going to hit X and then delete. I'm just going to delete everything. All right. Now, I am going to go into 1 and 5. That gives me the front ortho view. Notice that my screencast keys are showing up down here as well, so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use this to look straight on to the cell phone, and I want to put in that image. So I'm going to hit N to open the side panel over here. All right, scroll down to the bottom where it says, get rid of that for a second, background images, and I'm going to open that up, add image. I'm going to choose my image, open, reference images, cell phone. There it is, and I want this image to show up only in front view. So over here where it says all views, I'm going to choose front. All right, and there is my 3D cursor, which is the center of my screen. This is the red x-axis, and this is the z-axis, and the y-axis is coming out at us or going into the screen there. So I want to basically center my image up. So I'm going to pull my image over a little bit. I'm going to start sort of pulling it over until it pretty much lines up, and that's pretty good there. I'm sort of looking at this circle. It's not necessarily in the middle of the cell phone, might be over here more, but I'm okay with that as long as it's centered right just like that. So that's going to be my front view. So if I move away from front view, you know, go to some side view, I can't see, but if I hit 1, I'm back to being able to see this. I am going to add the image again, and I'm going to put this on the, I want the side, okay? And this is, if the front is right here, this is the right side, is it not? Let's try that. Should be the right side. All right, and I'm going to choose that same image. I'm going to hit 3 for the right side. I think it's going to be the right side. but I want this 3D cursor now in the center of this diagram, so I'm going to move this over like this, and 3.32, let's try. That's good enough. Okay, and let's start saving this, and let's call this cell phone new video, and I'm going to overwrite what I tried to do this last night. Hit N to close that side panel and zoom out with my mouse button. So I'm just going to be hitting Control Save all the time. But again, like I say, if I lose the video capturing, screen capturing stuff, I know sometimes it makes a bit of a backup, but it's too much of a hassle. I think if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. If you believe that. All right, so we're going to start in front view, and I'm going to create the body of this phone, and I'm going to start using a plane. So I'm going to go Shift A, and that's going to bring up the Add dialog box, and I'm going to choose Mesh Plane. So there it is, but I'm going to rotate this in the X-axis. I'm going to go RX90, and there's the plane. Now I can look straight down at it. I'm going to go into Edit mode. I can do that by coming down here, and I'm going to scale this in the Z, so SZ, and I'm going to pull it up like that. And I'm also going to go into wireframe, Z wireframe, so I can see through it. A to deselect, and then I'm going to hit B to box select, and I'm going to use my left mouse button. I'm going to drag a box around just these two vertices, and I'm going to pull them up to hit the end, and the bottom looks okay to me. Deselect everything, box select the sides here, pull them over to the edge, and box select these ones, and pull them over to this edge. Now before we go any further, let's save, and let's hit 3 to go into the right view, and just to double check that it's there. And it's right there down the center. It's hard to see. Okay, back to 1. Now I want to create these rounded corners, and I could do it right now, or I could give this plane some thickness, and I think I'll do that first. So I'm going to hit A to select it. I'm just going to turn a little bit like this so I can see. I could choose any, whatever. E to extrude. I'm just going to come up this way, and I can adjust the size of that in a bit. I'm going to deselect, come out of wireframe for the moment, and hit 3 to go in the side view. Okay, so I got that. So let's go into wireframe. I'm just trying to decide how I want to do this. I think I'm going to move this whole thing. That's like that. That should not affect the front position. Back to 3. All right, we'll have a look. Deselect, and I'll box select these ones here, and I'll bring them in a little bit to there. That's pretty good. All right, let's come out for a second. I'll go into 1. Okay, cool. So let's go back into edit mode, and we can see we got some thickness here. I'm going to, in edge select mode, I'm going to grab these. And by the way, I'm going Control Tab to switch between, but you could do it down here. Choose edge selection right there. I'm going to shift and click that edge and that edge. Let's get out of wireframe for the moment. And actually, before I do that, you can see some weird discoloration here, some darkness. I want it to be all sort of light gray. That means some of my polys are flipped. So I'm going to deselect, hit A to select it all, and go Control N. See the color change there? That means my polys are all facing out now. So I'm going to choose that edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge, and go back into 1. And I think I'll go into wireframe. Those edges are selected, so I'm going to bevel them. So I'm going to go Control B, and I'm going to pull away from the center like this, and you'll see it's starting to cut. I come down to about there. I'm going to start rolling my mouse wheel up, and as I roll my mouse wheel up, I make sections. As I move my mouse, I move it in or out. So I'm going to move my mouse, then I get that. Okay, and you can see I've added all these segments here to sort of curve it off. Okay, so that's what we got so far. If I go into the side view, you can see there's also a sort of a bevel or a rounding off here as well. So what I'll do is, let's come into solid view for a second. In edge select mode, I'm going to go Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge. All right, so they're selected all the way around. back into side view, Z, wireframe, and I'm going to bevel this one as well. So I'm going to go Control V, and I'm going to pull, and I'm going to get this effect, and then I'm going to roll my mouse wheel up a bunch of times, and I'm going to get that. Okay, deselect to come out and have a look. All right, so this is what we have so far. Now, I think right away I'm going to get rid of this grid floor, so let's hit N, the side panel, come down to Display, deselect grid floor, N to close that, and I still have the axes. They're very helpful. All right, so let's go back into 3 and have a look at this. Let's go into Edit mode and wireframe. Okay, now, there is a middle sort of section to this that comes out of the body. Let's go back to the picture, and you can see the silver part sticks out a little ways from the rest of the black body, and I want to create that now before going any further. And so I'm going to use this middle area, but you can see these dark black lines. I want to put a line or an edge down here and here, and then use this middle section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some edge loops. So I'm going to hover my mouse over this sort of horizontal line and go Control R, and that's going to put a vertical edge loop, that pink line. I can click and then drag to move that, and I'm going to put it there, and it's going to go all the way around the phone. Back to side 3, deselect. I'm going to go Control R, it puts it right in the middle. I'm going to click and pull it over, and I'm going to click again. There we go. Good enough. Doesn't have to be, you know, exact dimensions or anything. We're just doing this for fun. I'm going to come out of wireframe, and I'm going to, in face select mode, I could get it down there if I wanted. I'm going to click on this horizontal line, and I'm going to hold Shift and Alt, and that's going to select the whole row of polygons all the way around. So that's going to be that middle section. I'm going to extrude this outward to give it a bit of distance from the main body. So I'm going to hit E and click to accept, and then I'm going to scale in the X outwards to the side and the Z's, but I'm going to do them independently. I'm going to go Scale X, and I'm going to pull my mouse out. It's going to pull it out, not too far, just a little ways. Oh, I did something there. Scale X. I pressed a button, and I wished I didn't. I'm going to hold the Shift button so I can move very slowly. And now let's zoom in and see. I'm going to Scale X and bring it in a bit. I don't want it too far. Just like that. And then I'm going to go Scale Z, and I'm going to pull. And I'm looking to try and get, let's go to 1, sort of an equal distance on this side here and up there. I'm going to scale in the Z and pull it out a little bit more, like that. Okay, just a small amount like that. Good. Let's save that. I'm going to go back into edge select mode, and I'm going to go Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge, because these edges are very sharp right now. You see the way this is nice and rounded? These are 90-degree angles. I'm going to bevel those. So I'm going to go Control B and pull, and then add 1, 2, I'll add 3 segments by rolling my mouse wheel up, deselect, and come back to object mode. And I've created that piece, and hopefully it's relatively equal around. You could use numbers to do this, but I'm not too worried. So I can also put on smoothing, and it would look like that. It would look great. Right? I don't need that right now. Back into 1. Now, how are we doing? Everybody recording? All right. So far, so good. Now, I want to have a look at this. Well, here's the thing. In smooth shaded like that, it looks okay, but as soon as I start, and there's a bit of shading issues right there, and you can see that better with different shaders, not this default. Anyways, I don't need that. I'm going to be putting on a subdivision surface to this, but I want the front of this, okay, this part here, to be just a solid plane. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to select this face, and before I do anything, I'm going to extrude it down just a little ways, E, and I'm going to pull this green arrow in the Y direction in a little ways. It doesn't have to go in very far. Normally you wouldn't want your touch screen in very far. I'm going to take this and I'm going to break it away from this. So I'm going to hit P to make it a new object. Accept, right there. I'm going to come back to object mode, and now if I click on the body and go H, I've got that piece right there. I'm going to set the origin to geometry, make sure it's in the middle of the geometry of this piece, and right away I'm going to name this screen. All right. In fact, I'm going to name this, which is not visible right now, the body. Okay, let's save that. Let's go Alt H to bring everything back. So this piece here, there, if I take the screen and hide it, this part is the body. In fact, I want to do something else on this. I want to find the innermost edge. So I'm going to go into edge selection right there. Find the innermost edge if I can. Not that. That's it there, right? And I want to extrude it down a little bit, or can I just pull it down? Let's see if I can just pull it down. I can just pull it down. All right, I just want to extend that down a little bit further. Now it's debatable if I want to bevel this edge right here. Maybe I do. Control B. Let's try that. Let's see, 1, 2 segments. Okay, now I'm going to be adding a subdivision surface to this anyhow, and we'll have a look at what that looks like. Alt H, bring back my front panel. This is now just a single polygon, or an ngon. Let's add a subdivision surface. Come over to the wrench, add modifier, subdivision surface. I'll go with 2 for now. All right, and I can add smoothing if I want as well. Now, everything still should fit together nicely. Yeah, I'm not seeing any problems. Save. I can now work on this plane right here and do booleans and stuff like that. So let's take this and I can do it 2 ways. I can hide this by hitting H like that, or Alt H to bring it back. Or if I select the object I want to look at, the screen, I can go Shift H and it will hide everything but what I'm looking at, or what I've selected. Number 1, to come into front view. Let's go into edit mode. Now it's a little bit smaller than the rest, than the diagram, but I'm not going to worry about that at all. Neither should you. Z for wireframe. And my 3D cursor is right in the center, and I want to work on this piece right here, the sort of the home button, or whatever you call that. I'm going to bring in an object to create this, and it's going to come in right at the position of my 3D cursor, which is here, and that's totally fine because this is all centered up. So I think what I'm going to bring in is a cylinder, and because I want to push down into this plane here that I'm already editing. So in actual fact, I can be in object mode to do this. And that's what I'm going to want to be in. So I'm going to go Shift A, cylinder. I don't need to be in wireframe. Yes, I do actually in RC. I take it back. I'm going to leave the default values here. They're fine, but I'm going to rotate this RX in the X direction, and I'm going to bring it down to about the middle there. And then I'm going to scale and get it pretty close. That's pretty close to the size. Let's come out of wireframe mode right now and look, and you can see that it's down there. So I'm going to bring it up. Let me just make sure that the front, yeah, I got the front. Okay, cool. Now, I do want this pushing through, however, because I'm going to do a boolean on this, which means I'm going to use this to cut through. So I think I will, because I have moved this, and I can't remember if I scaled this, in object mode, I'm going to go Control A and apply. I'm going to choose rotation and scale. I'm not sure if I rotated. Select my plane, add modifier, boolean, operation is difference, and the object, use the eyedropper, click on the cylinder, hit apply. Choose your cylinder again and hit H. Now that has dug a hole. Although it's a little bit hard to see, there's no shadows being cast. So I'm going to hit N, come over to the side panel, and under shading, I'm going to choose ambient occlusion. I'll just go with that for now. I'll leave this material in. Now I can see that a little bit better. I can see some shadows. Now, if I come in here, let's go into edit mode and deselect with A, go into face select mode down here, or the way I just did it, and I'm going to choose this central polygon, and I'm going to scale S, and I'm going to pull in so that I get sort of an angle on the hole itself. Okay, and deselect. And now you'll notice, actually, if I go back to object mode, this is a very sharp edge right here. And I know this looks faceted. I'll deal with that in a bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edge mode, and I'm going to grab this. Now you'll notice I did Shift Alt and I didn't get everything. That's because I've got these extra edges here. So all I have to do is go Shift Alt on the rest of the edge here. I get it in 2 clicks. Now that I've got that, I'm going to go Control B and I'll pull back my mouse, not too much. Roll my mouse up a few times. Let's go 1, 2, 3 maybe. And I've sort of beveled that edge. I've rounded it a bit. Now it doesn't look too smooth yet. Now, I don't want to be just pressing shading smooth on this globally, because I'll be doing a bunch of booleans and I'm gonna have some shading issues. So I'm gonna shade just what I need. I don't need to shade the flat area. I mean, you know, it's just flat. But once I have other components modeled in here, I'm just gonna shade the particular areas I need to, not globally, because it's not gonna work well. So I'm gonna go into edit mode. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to go Control plus, and I'm going to keep doing that until I get to the last row of polygons. So Control plus each time, and then I come over here to shading and UVs, and under faces I'm going to hit smooth. I'm going to come out and let's have a look at that. Okay, now there's going to be a button in here, so you're barely going to see that anyhow. So let's bring back Alt H is going to bring back everything. Let's just hide that again. Let's bring back the cylinder and move it up and go into edit mode for that. And I'm going to scale this one in the Y, right? Scale it in the Y. And I'm going to make the button. It goes in there. Okay, down to about there maybe. An edge selection. I'm going to, let's just make sure that all the polys are flipped, and they are. I'm going to grab this edge, Shift Alt and click that edge, and go Control B and pull back till I get a nice sort of slope like that, and I'm going to roll my mouse up like that. And that's it for the moment. Let's bring this in, push it in here as far down as we feel we need it. Now we're going to be doing something else to this. Let me try just smoothing. No, I think I'm going to add a subdivision surface on this. So let's go subdivision surface of 2, make it nice and round. Hopefully I don't have any shading issues, I don't have any problems with that. I can smooth that as well. Okay, save. And we've got that sitting in there. Now in the diagram, you'll notice there are these circles on there. Okay, and you can see them there as well. So I'm going to do that. Front view. I think I'll go into wireframe. I'm going to go Shift A and bring in a circle. Leave the default values, but rotate X 90. Bring it down and start scaling it to about that size. Okay, let's just see where the heck that circle is. There it is. I think it's on the wrong side, or it's underneath. So we'll go there. Yeah, okay, it's out in front there now, eh? I don't need to be in wireframe for the moment. I'm going to go into that, edit mode, hit F to make a face, E to extrude out in the Y direction, Control B to bevel, pull back, and roll my mouse wheel up. I'm not getting rid of back faces, as you can see. I just couldn't really be bothered. Scale it in the Y just to flatten it out a bit, and hit smoothing. Let's look in 1. Now, I think that's too big. So I'm going to make it smaller than it was in the diagram. Alright, in fact, I don't think it needs to be that high. Scale in the Y, I think it just needs to be just barely noticeable. Just some kind of tactile thing on the button itself. Alright, so I've got one there, but in the diagram you can see that they actually go around radially. Alright, so I'm going to do that now. So what you do is you select the circle there and go into edit mode and hit A to select everything. Alright, and I am actually, I believe, let's try this because I think my 3D cursor needs to be on this button. let's do something and find out, right? We're going to use the spin tool, so I'm going to hit spin and see the way these went all crazy. They didn't go around this button circle, so I'm going to undo that. Let's come out of here. What I need to do is select this button, and as long as the origin of this button is right in the middle, go Shift S, cursor to selected, and put the 3D cursor, this red and white circle, right in the middle of this button. It'll act like a pivot point, essentially. Now when I select my circle here, there, and go into edit mode and select it, I have to be there, all right? When I spin, it will spin the new circles around this pivot point. So now I'm going to choose spin, but I'm going to change the angle to 360 of the circle, and I'm changing this number to 8 because there are 8 circles. They look a little discolored, so I have to do a couple of things. I've got to go A and then A again and remove doubles. That got rid of a bunch of vertices. And also, watch the colors, Control N. Some of the normals were flipped. Now I can deselect and come out, and I've created this nicely. Now I'm going to select my button and apply the subdivision surface, and I'm going to take these and click on that, shift click on that, Control J, and join them together. So it's done. That button is done now. Okay, so if I go Alt H to unhide everything and I bring it all back, this is our progress so far. I think I'm going to save the video at this point and hope that I can continue to record properly. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's hide that again. Hide, and let's hide the button. And let's go 1 to look at the front. And let's go into, no, we don't have to go into mode. Let's just go Z and look at wireframe for a moment and come up to the top. This is really the main reason why I'm doing it this way. Okay, with this ngon, this weird polygon, because of this structure here, the speaker, I guess, of the phone. Because I'm going to be punching a bunch of holes into this plane, and I just could not do that with a subdivision surface. I am going to be punching holes in the side, but just 2 and 2 big ones. All right, so, all right, the way I'm going to create this structure, sort of a rounded rectangle, is I'm going to use circle. I'm going to cut it in half, another circle, cut it in half, and join them. All right, so where's my 3D cursor? My 3D cursor is right down there. That's totally fine. It's centered anyhow. So I'm just going to go Shift A, circle, rotate X 90. And I'm going to bring it up, and then let's zoom in and have a look. Hit S to scale, bring it down, pull it over to the side. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll go in and I'll cut it in half. Edit mode, and to cut it in half, simply I'm going to go to vertex selection. I could do that right down here. Deselect, and I'm going to box select B and drag a rectangle around these vertices to select them and delete them. I want to leave the one that's right at the top, sort of at the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock position, the horizontal positions. X, delete vertices, hit A to select what's left over. Let's make a copy of this and rotate it. So let's go Shift D and accept, or click to duplicate it. And then the Y direction is coming straight out at us. So let's go rotate Y 180. Okay, so it's turned around. Let's pull this back to here, deselect, and then let's select that vertex and that vertex, press F to make a face, and that'll join them. And then click this vertex and shift click. I'm shift clicking, and that one to make a face there and deselect. All right, let's now hit A to select all of it, and then let's make a face, F, and that puts a face in the middle of all of this. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to create a rounded rectangle that I can use to push into the surface of the phone to make an indentation. So I need to give this some thickness. So I'm going to go E to extrude, and I'm going to push upwards. Okay, now, I don't know if I went the right way or the wrong way. If I go this way, it's hard to tell in wireframe. Let's get out of wireframe, solid. Oh, it's hard to tell right there. Let's go into object mode is move this up. Yeah, okay, what I wanted to show you is this weird coloration here. My normals are flipped, all right? So I'm gonna go into edit mode. Just watch the colors. I'm gonna make sure it's all selected. Watch the color, especially down there. Control N, and the color changed. Now all the normals are facing out, and it's a nice silvery color here. My origin is in the wrong spot. It's where my first circle came in, so I'm going to go set origin to geometry because I've changed the geometry here. I'm also going to go Control A, scale. Probably rotated this too, but that's not a big deal. And then if I hit N and I come over and I look at the scale is set to 1 because before it was all weird. All right, anyways. Now I'm going to use this to push down into the surface of this. Now it's going to go right through. That's totally fine. This is just a flat plane. Okay, so I'm going to select my plane and go Boolean difference, and for my object I'm going to select that, hit apply. Doesn't look like anything happened, but select that, hit H, and it's gone. And I've now got an indentation in there. Everybody behaving so far? Yes. Well, okay, so this is a very sharp edge as well, so we're going to try to bevel this edge. So go into edit mode and edge selection. I'm going to shift alt and click, and I didn't get everything all around, so I'm going to shift alt and click there as well. So I got it in 2. I think I'm just going to do this outer edge for now. So Control B, pull back. 1, 2 segments is enough for me. Come out and just have a look at it. It just catches a little bit of light. It's a little bit smoother transition. Now it's a little faceted there. It doesn't look very good, but we'll try to smooth that later. The real power of using this plane to do the booleans is that I can punch a whole bunch of holes in it. All right, so let's do that right now. Let's Alt H. Let's bring back this. I don't need that, and delete it. And let's go back and hide that again. Let's go into edit mode and select this face and go Shift S, cursor to select it. So I bring my 3D cursor right to there because I want to bring in some cylinders to punch holes through, and I want them to come in right there. So let's go Shift A, cylinder, rotate X90, and just scale. I don't care if I'm in object mode or not. Let's zoom in and let's scale again because I want to create a couple of rows of these dots. Probably that's small enough. Bring it over here and bring it up. Let's view it right on. Okay, so that goes through, right? Okay, good. 1. I want a row of these going across, so I'm going to use the array modifier, and I click on add modifier under the wrench, choose array, and I want them in the X direction. So over here you can see X, Y, and Z. This area and this area applies to the X, so I'm going to start increasing the amount to maybe that, and I want more of them, so I'm going to change the count. So I'm going to go click, 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 click a bunch of these. Okay, that looks like a good amount right there. And I think I want 2 rows of these, so I'm going to go Shift D, duplicate that, and just pull it down by eye. Grab both of them and position them and decide. I think they're a bit big, so I'm going to hit S and scale a little bit. Pull them out, and maybe I can. No, that's not a great idea. I think that's good. I think maybe I want a little bit more distance between them, though. I'm just going to move them, manipulate them a bit. Okay, just doing it by eye. That looks good. Okay, so I'm going to select that one and apply, and this one and apply. So I've applied the array. I've accepted it. I'm going to select both of them and go Control J. They are now joined, and this is now one object, although the origin was still over here on the original cylinder. So I'm going to set origin to geometry and put it right in the middle, and save. We're ready for a Boolean. Okay, let's make those little speaker holes. Choose my main panel here. Did I call this screen, by the way? I'm going to want to change. I want to change the name of this. I don't want to call it screen. I'm going to be using that name. I want to call it panel. Sorry about that. Okay. Choose the panel, and under the modifiers tab, choose Boolean difference, and for the object, choose cylinders. Give it a second. Sometimes it takes a while to do this. Apply. Choose the cylinders. H to hide. And look, I've punched a whole bunch of holes in them, and they don't need to go right through. I don't mind that they're capped off at the end. Now, let's hit unhide and delete the cylinders and then hide that. Now, these, let's go back into edit mode, by the way. Select it and go back to edit mode and deselect everything. These are very sharp. I want to bevel these edges and the inside like this. I want to grab that edge. I'm going to have to make 2 trips, and not that inner edge all the way around. But I don't want to go, 18 times doing that, trying to select everyone. So I'm going to come down to select similar, face angles, and bang, it's done everything. It's also selected this outer border around the outside, and I think that's going to be okay, but actually I think I'm going to try to deselect that and see how well that works. There. I've still got everything else selected, so before I do anything else, I'm just going to go Control B, pull, and roll my mouse up a couple of times just for a small bit of bevel. You see the shine there? Okay, there. Save. Now let's see if I can make this a little bit smoother. Back into edit mode. Face selection. I'm going to Shift Alt and click on one of the lines in between the polys, and I'm going to come in a little closer, and I'm going to do the same thing here and here. I'm not certain. No, maybe I'll do the last one as well. We'll see. Come over to shading and UVs and go smooth, and that's going to be just fine for my purposes. All right, so far so good. Let's create that camera. All right, wireframe. Son's a big camera, whatever it is. So let's bring in another circle. It's my 3D cursor's right here, so I'm going to go Shift A, circle, rotate X90, and it's going to bring the circle in right there. That's fine. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to scale it down to about there. I'll just position it a little bit, and let's see. That's fine. I'll move it out in front. Okay, come out of wireframe, back to solid, edit mode for this, select it, A to select, F to make a face, E to extrude, bring it up, I'll give it a little bit of thickness. Oh yes, I need to punch a hole first, don't I? So let's use this then to punch the hole. Let's go back to object mode. Let's push this into the body here and select this panel, Boolean, difference, select that, apply, select that, hide. There it is, but it's got a very sharp edge, so let's try to bevel this. In fact, yeah, no, let's just do the edge. I won't worry about the inner side. Okay, notice I selected and I didn't get the whole thing because of these edges here, so I'll select over there as well. And then very carefully, I'm going to see if I can bevel this. Pull back. 1, 2 edges is good enough. Or 2 segments, whatever. Okay. I can try to deal with some smoothing. Actually, let's take that face and Control plus just till I get to the end and smooth. And it doesn't matter if this looks a little funny because I'm going to have the camera in there. Okay. I don't know if maybe I don't need that part smooth. Maybe that'll be a bit better. Let's go Alt H, brings everything back. Let's hide that again. Let's take this and make it a tiny bit smaller, just scale it a bit. Okay, let's go into edit mode for this and let's select it and Control N, just make sure all the polys are in the right orientation. Select the front face, hit 1 and wireframe, and I'm going to create this. I think it comes in and then it goes down for this white area. So I'm going to hit I to inset and just pull my mouse in. Okay, yeah. And then I'm going to hit E and I'm going to extrude it down a little bit. And then go back in the wireframe and hit I, and I'm going to come in a little bit more. I'm going to come down again. No, I'm going to come up because I already went down. I'm going to go E, and I'm going to pull it up. And let me a weird camera. Back to front view. I, and come over to here. Gosh, it seems like too many. I might come all the way. What if I come all the way to there? Where am I at? Yeah, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go E to extrude. I'm going to come right down. I'm just changing it a little bit. Just like that. Let's go out of wireframe and have a look. Okay, this is too many circles, so we'll do that. Now, these are all very sharp edges. I will be putting a subdivision surface, but these are still sharp edges. So let's bevel them. Edge selection, grab that edge, this one, and this one. And let's see if we can bevel them all together, how it'll look. I want to, yeah, that's going to be fine. I'm going to put just 2 segments there because I'll put a subdivision surface. Just smooths it out a little bit. Okay, save. Let's just have a look actually at how thick this is. Yeah, it's going to be too thick. Scale this in the Y, just like that, and then add subdivision surface of probably 2 is okay. Pull it back in, and subdivision surface kind of shrinks it a little bit, so I'm going to scale, just hit S to scale it like that. And I think that's probably good enough. No, you know what? Now it's too thin. Let's scale this in the Y and make it a bit thicker. I don't know, kind of shrimpy. I'm not putting edge loops on this right now or anything to tighten it up. I think that's probably okay. Yeah. We can do smoothing as well. Okay, I think what I'll do. No, I'm not gonna attach anything right now. Well, we're getting close to the end of the front. Let's go in the wireframe. All we have left to do is some, these are like sort of little bars and the screen area. So let's do the little bars. All right, let's go Shift A and bring in a cube. And let's scale it object mode. Scale in the Z. Make it nice and thin and bring it down. And you'll see it's going to go right in that area. Okay. Then I'm going to scale in the X. And I'm just going to bring it not quite out to the very sides. And I think I may have to adjust the position of these. I'll do that. And then let's get out of wireframe. And then let's scale this in the Y. Really thin. Even thinner than that. Just a really light feature. Yeah, that's okay like that, I think. Let's go Control A because I rotate and scale. I don't know if I rotated, but I scaled. And let's add a bevel modifier. And that's fine, just like that. But I still feel, because it's so small, we're not going to see it barely at all. Let's scale this Z just a little bit more. And the Y. Okay, so it's just a tiny thing sitting there. It doesn't matter if it goes through a little bit. Let's put that there for the moment and go back into front view. Let's select it though, and in wireframe, let's Shift D, duplicate it, and pull it down to that position. All right, so we got those pieces. Now I could be naming all these things up here in the hierarchy. I believe that's what it's called, and that's a great thing to do, but I'm not doing it. All right, let's assume those are going to be there. Now let's make the screen. Let's go into edit mode, front view, wireframe for the moment, and you're going to see now the screen is here. Okay. I am going to, in order to make the screen, I'm going to cut this panel right here. I can't do an edge loop. If I try and see, there's Control R, it doesn't work. I can do it in various other spots, but I can't do that. So I'm going to use the knife tool, and I'm going to go from this edge, I don't know if you can see it there, to that edge. All right. So I'm going to go K to activate the knife, hover my mouse about there. You'll see that pink dot there on the knife. I'm going to click, start dragging, and if I go off on an angle, I just hit C to constrain it to go straight across right to there, click, spacebar to end it. So I've now got a new edge there. Okay, now there's some of these things here, but deal with that in a second. Let's come back down here. K for the knife tool. Click here. C to constrain. Come on across. Click like that. Okay, now cool. What this means is, if I'm in solid view, I can now select this area here. Now the thing is, though, all these pieces are separate like that. What I think I want to do is I want this screen not right out to the very edge. I want it slightly in and slightly indented a bit as well. I don't know, it's just a design thing. So I think I'm going to just hit the inset key, pull in a little bit, and I don't even really care if it's equal on both axes. Yeah, I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm just going to pull this back, not too much, just so that the screen is ever so slightly indented. And then what I'm going to do, okay, you can see that I've pushed it in a little bit. I'm not going to worry about beveling those edges. I'm going to select these faces again. I'm going to go Shift D to copy them and P to make them a new object. Enter. Go into object mode. I now have, although you may not see it, there it is. Okay, I'm going to bring it back to that position. That piece, which is still selected, that panel is what I want to call the screen. That is the screen. I'm going to go into edit mode of that screen, and I'm going to take all these pieces and I want to make them one piece. So I'm going to go X, dissolve faces. Now it's one piece, but actually let's come out for a second. Let's hide that stuff for the moment. Back into edit mode. If I go into vertex mode, there are extra vertices here. Do it this way. Extra vertices. All these, they're not part of this. So I'm going to go X, dissolve vertices. There, much better. Okay, there's my screen. Now I may have to adjust the position of that a little bit. Right away though, with that screen selected, I'm going to create a material. I'm in cycles render, so this is using nodes, but all I'm going to do is go for the surface, choose emission, call this material screen, and I think I'll go in, and I'm just going to hit assign. Okay, so I've created a material for that emission. That's going to be to put the, the cell phone screen image on there in a bit. All right, so where are we at? Let's go Alt H and bring everything back. Now this screen is going to have to move ever so slightly outwards, so I can grab it and just give it a small pull, and hopefully it'll still fit in there and it'll look all right. All right, so far so good. We could, for the fun of it, no, we couldn't. I'm going to talk about materials, but we're not going to. That's all I'm going to do on the front, I believe. All right, now let's choose this side and go Shift H as if that's all we want to look at. All right, let's go to 3, and I see that when I do that, when I go to 3, it's, I really want, so for example here, a wireframe, I want the front to be right here, right, the right side of the phone, and the front should be there, but really the front's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the view from right, is this what I want to do, to left. So when I go Control 3, so there's the front, yeah, Control 3. All right, I didn't move anything. I just changed it to say it's the left side. And it seems to correspond with the front better. Whatever. All right, now let's get out of wireframe for a moment. Let's go. Now let's look at wireframe for the moment. We're going to create these things, and I think I want to create the circles first. Okay, to do this I'm going to go back into solid view, but I'll go into edit. I need to create some geometry here in order to create those. Now this is with subdivision surface, If it wasn't, I could just do a straight boolean. This is a flat piece, and I could just bore a hole in. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Control R, 2, 3, 4. I can make 2 holes there, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to click to accept and finalize. Now, I want to straighten these lines, so I'm going to go SZ0 and watch how they level out. Okay, let's zoom in and do that. Okay, deselect, Shift Alt and click, Scale Z0. Scale Z0. I just want them straight across. Scale Z0. Okay, I want to make sure they're on the right side. They're on the correct side. Okay, which is the right side of my phone. Okay, I'm going to be making circles here, but they're not in the right position. So what we'll do is I will go Shift Alt and click. Yeah, it's not gonna. Okay, I'll do it this way. I'm going to choose these, and because they're too far away. Scale in the Z, and that's going to pull these lines in closer. And I'll take these two, and I'll go Scale in the Z, and that's going to pull them in closer. And then I'm going to select all of these edges, Shift Alt to click, Control 3 to look on the side, go into wireframe, and just start pulling this stuff up. Well, try to get them equal. Okay, so I'm going to have to do some work. All right, never mind. We're going to do some work here. We're just going to eyeball it. I'm going to pull this edge in between the circle and the dot. Deselect, circle and dot each time. Okay, like that. And then this one between the circle and the dot. And this one between the circle and the dot. Now, these buttons may not be the exact same size, but we'll do what we can. Okay, let's come out of wireframe. So let's go into face selection. I am going to be creating buttons right there, but I think I want a little bit more geometry than that. And I also don't think I want them that big. Let's just have a look. Yeah. So I'm going to try I to inset, pull them in like that. Control 3. And we'll just scale these. No, we won't. That's going to be just fine. All right, so that's what we've got so far. Beautiful. Back into solid view. Save. I'm going to select both of those spaces. I'm going to go W subdivide, and that's going to chop them into 4 from 1 square polygram to 4. So I say polygram. Am I lying? Okay, now I'm going to select this vertex, and I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to select it. So my 3D cursor is right there. And then I'm going to X and delete that vertex, and I'm going to create a hole. The reason I did cursor to select it is because I want to bring in a circle at this point, but I want to bring in a circle with 8 sides because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices, or 8 vertices in my circle. So Shift A, circle, but before I do anything, change the vertices to 8, like that. Rotate Y 90 and scale. And scale it down so it's kind of close in size to so they're close to touching these vertices, the vertices of the circle, and this one here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these points. So I'm going to get rid of the manipulator. I'm going to choose that point of the main sort of body, and then the point of the circle, and go Alt M, merge at, choose at last. Then choose this point, and then that one second. It's important the order you choose them in. Alt M, merge at last. So always from the body then to the circle, and just keep repeating this. So we're sort of patching up the hole, but we're leaving the actual hole. Okay, and then this one and this one. Deselect, come back into object mode, and look, we've created a hole in subdivision surface. Save that. All right, let's go back into Control 3, back into edit mode. Let's choose this point now, and let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, and delete that vertex. Shift A to bring in a circle. It's still 8 vertices. Rotate Y 90 and scale. Now this is where the holes can be slightly different sizes because of how I do this, but it's not going to be a big problem. Select that point and that point, Alt-M, merge at last. Merge at last. Just go around and keep doing that. Holes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save the video now and make sure that we don't lose this. I'll be right back. Okay, so far so good. Let's continue. Edit mode, and I'm going to shift to edge selection. And I'm going to select Shift Alt, not that, and click all around this edge. And I'll try doing them both at the same time. Okay, so I've selected that whole edge. I'm going to hit E to extrude, bring back my manipulator, and I'm going to pull these in a certain distance like that. And then I'm going to, I think I'm going to deselect, and then I'm going to reselect that edge if I can. All the way around, got it. And I'm going to go E to extrude, scale 0, S0, accept. Alt-M, merge at center. I'll leave that there for the moment. Come over to this one. Select the whole edge, E to extrude, and then S0, enter, Alt-M, merge at center, save. Now let's put some edge loops in here to tighten this up a little bit. So let's go Control R, and there's one, and I'm going to click and I'm going to pull it down near the bottom. It doesn't have to be quite at the bottom, and I'm going to pull one up near the top as well to tighten that up. I'll do the same thing on this hole. Control R, push it down near the bottom, and Control R, pull it up near the top. Let's deselect and come out and have a look at our surface. We haven't mucked anything up yet. That looks great so far, so let's go ahead and make a button and see how close in size these are. Back to edit mode and select the outer edge. Shift Alt and click all the way around till you got it all. Shift D to duplicate it and P to make it a new object. Back into object mode. Select that ring and do origin of geometry to move the manipulator right to that. Pull it out a little bit. Let's make a button out of this, so let's go into edit mode, select it all, press F to make a face, E to extrude, and pull it out. Now because this was created from the body here, it's got the subdivision surface on it. We may or may not want that. I think we do want that, so let's leave it on. Let's go and add an edge loop here and pull it up, and an edge loop towards the back and pull it down. Deselect, come on out. We can hit smoothing and pull that into place like that. Save. Let's see if we just Control 3. Let's see if we just copy that and see how well it fits. It fits pretty good. The holes are pretty similar in size. Okay. So we've created holes in the subdivision surface, but we also created holes on the front panel, but using different techniques. I think I'm going to skip the side part for the moment and come down and do the bottom. If we come back to the image, you can see, well, you can't see very well, but there's a little slot here, like, you know, when you plug your, here, bring my iPhone up here, when you plug your iPhone in at the bottom, there's that. Now there's other parts that I'm not necessarily doing. There's also a speaker, a headphone jack I put on here because I'm, designed, this image of the phone. And then there's these little things here. So maybe, actually, before we go to the bottom, maybe we will do a little bit more here. Okay. So let's go to the side and let's actually hide these. So we got less strain, I hope, as we try to render something that's Let's go Control 3 over to the side, and let's just go into select this And let's go into wireframe, just have a look here. So it's going to be down in this area here. Now I'm not just adding edge loops in wireframe, because I tend to, when I do this, I tend to get them on the wrong side. So I'm just going to do this in solid view, and I'm going to add one edge loop. I'm just going to bring it down, but let's go SZ0, straighten it out. And let's add just another one, an SZ0, straighten it out. And then we can move them in wireframe. Okay, so let's grab this one and bring it down roughly in between those two dots. And Shift-Alt, click that one and bring it down between the two dots. And we got that. And then we'll do the same kind of thing. We'll select this face. This might be a bigger, circle. Let's hit I to inset, just bring it in a little bit. Let's create a bit more geometry for stability. And let's go W, subdivide. Where am I? Subdivide right there. Okay. Back into vertex mode, select that center vertex. We'll zoom right in a bit. X to delete that vertex. I should have 8. So I'm going to bring in a, let's not do that yet. Let's do Shift S cursor to select it. And then we'll delete that vertex. Save. Shift A, bring in a circle. It's already 8. Rotate Y90. And let's scale it down. Okay, and zoom in. Scale it up a bit more. Okay, let's get rid of the manipulator so it's not in the way. Choose those two. Alt M, merge it, not at center. Alt M, merge at last. Merge at last. All the way around. Well, the computer is holding its own so far, but it could go at any moment. I hate to even bring that up. Yeah, it makes me nervous. I can't work. I can't relax as well as I normally could. All right, so I got a bit of an issue here with some pulling here, and see how well we can fix that. I think what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try and use the knife tool, and I'm going to select that vertex and go up and do that and see if that clears it up a little bit. And it seems to have, maybe I'll do that at the bottom as well. Okay, come down, click there, spacebar, and let's see if I'm okay. I think I'm okay. So let's go back into edit mode, and in edge selection, select this whole outer edge, E to extrude, bring back my manipulators and pull it in ways. E to extrude, accept, scale 0, enter, Alt M, merge at center. Let's come out and look at that. All right, let's try adding edge loops and see if we can clear some of that smudginess or that stretching up. Again, I'm not a master Blender user, so I'm sure you guys know different ways of doing this. Fixing up the poly flow and stuff, I'm just gonna wing it here. I'm gonna make it work if we can. How's that? That's fine. That's just fine. Okay, let's make the button for this, or this sort of a speaker input. So let's grab this headphone input, whatever. Shift D and P to make it its own new selection, and select that and bring back my manipulators. And where are they? There. And also origin geometry. Now we can actually see the thing. Let's come out. Let's go into edit mode, select it, and hit F to make a face. Now let's go into Control 3 and wireframes. Let's see what the heck's going on. It's a little off center, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to go in and out, in and out. I'm going to hit I, and I'm going to bring it in. No, I'm not going to do, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give the whole thing some thickness. Forgot that. E to extrude, pull it out a ways. All right, now we're going to do that. Control 3. I to inset, pull it in, and then E to extrude, I'm going to bring it down. Okay, this is not going to look like exactly like a headphone. Input, I to inset, bring it into about there. E to extrude, I'll bring it out. I'll bring it out farther. I to inset, do that. Okay, E to extrude, bring it in a bit. I'll do one more eye to inset to there, and then we'll make the hole. E to extrude, and I'll just pull it down further. It's not going to go into the body of the actual phone, but it'll look something like that. Smoothing. Let's pull it back in and see. Okay, this thing I think I do want to add some edge loops to. So I'm going to add an edge loop here, and I'll add one here, and on top here. Maybe I'll add two. Maybe I'll come back here as well. Put one here, and I'll come inside. Push that down. Let's see what that looks like. That's good enough. Oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Did I put one in here yet? I think I did, but let's put one there, and let's put one on the inside coming up. How's that? The only thing I think I want to do is I want this a bit longer, so I'm going to put another edge loop there, pull it down. I'm going to scale this in the X. Do it like that. I don't know if that looks any good or what, but that's what we're going for now. Okay, let's come down to this part. I think it's Control 7 to get to that bottom there. Okay, Control 7. 7's the top, Control 7's the exact bottom. Let's go into edit mode, and I guess I got to do this by eye because I don't have any bottom images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two edge loops like that. That's going to cut through, I guess just that. That's fine. So I select that edge and go, I'm going to scale this in the X. There's the X. I want all these points at X0. Scale X0. Straighten it. Shift Alt, click that, scale X0 for that one as well. And I'm just going to eyeball this part. So I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to inset like that. And let's try just extruding up. E to extrude, pull it up like that. And let's see how well it works. Let's zoom in with adding an edge loop here, pulling it over, and here and pulling it over. And let's see how we look here. Okay, so far so good. It's pretty darn big, so I don't know that I want that. I want to come back a few steps. Let's select everything and remove doubles just in case. No, there was nothing. That's okay. All right. Let's try insetting, and let's try insetting one more time. Let's see. E to extrude, pull it up, zoom in a bit. Control R and put an edge loop like that, and like that. Let's try putting one here and see if this is okay. I extruded pretty far, didn't I? All right. Well. Let's try putting an edge loop inside. Pushing it down. And one here, pulling it up. That's a pretty deep hole. I don't mind it though. Let's put something in there. Let's select that face and Shift S cursor to select it to put my 3D cursor right there, and then come back into object mode and bring in a cube right there. Scale this in the Y. Scale it in the X. And scale it in the Z. And then start playing with it. Scale in the Z some more. Imagine this is like the contact that when you plug your phone in, I want it sticking out a little bit and having it up a bit. Scale out the Y a bit more. Now, because I'm scaling this in object mode, the scale is all screwy here. All right, so if you watch this, I'm going to go Control A and scale, and then it brings it back to 1. I'm going to add a bevel to this with 2 segments, and I'm going to adjust that, and I'm going to add smoothing and scale in the X a bit more. And that's kind of going to be what it is. Maybe I'll bring it out a bit more. Maybe I'll actually scale it out. I don't know, I just want it to be visible. All right, let's bring back Alt H everything and have a look at the phone so far. So we haven't crashed yet. It's going well. I think at this point I've demonstrated enough of what I wanted to that I'm going to start adding materials to this. All right. So here we go. Let's go over to the materials tab, this earth thing here, and hit new. And I'm going to choose mix shader. And for the first shader, I'm going to choose diffuse, and I'm going to make it almost black. The second shader, I'm going to choose glossy, and I'm going to make this very close to black as well. I'm going to change the roughness here to 0.02. I'm going to change this factor to 0.7. And let's try viewing in material. All right, so we're going to see some blackness there. I'm going to call this black. Obviously, I want this area to also be black. I want this to be black. I probably want most of it to be black. I want that to be black, but we're going to do some more in a second. I'm going to can I just do it this way? No, that's not what I want to do. All right, let's go plus, and let's choose black 001. I guess that is it. No, let's make another copy of it. It's black 002, and we call this red. And I'm going to change this up here and make this red. A darker red like that. So darker red, and then the glossy, I'll eyedrop that color and make it a bit lighter. Okay, that's going to be red. Save. And I want to go in. I just want this showing for the moment. So Shift H. Let's zoom into that. I'm going to put some red right at the very beginning, very middle. Let's choose red and assign. Actually, I'll come out a little bit because of that. Well, I could just hit, yeah. We'll just come out one more. Control plus and assign, and it'll look a bit better. Let's see, yeah, just like that for the camera. Okay. Let's go Alt H to bring everything back. These are going to be silver, so let's just for the moment, let's go black. And then let's add black 001, doesn't matter. And let's change this to silver. And let's make this like that. And the glossy like this. Is that okay? We'll see, we'll experiment with that. Okay, so this piece I'm going to make silver. So go into it, select it, and assign silver to it. Take that piece, and I'm going to want that silver. think I'm going to make these buttons black, as well as this and that piece. Heck, I don't know. Make it silver. Save. But I want this edge here, right here, to be, I'm just trying to think of how to select this really well. This might be might be fun to do this. Okay, well, looks like I'm gonna have to do this and do it bit by bit. I want all this to be silver. Let's try if I do that. Yeah, this is not the way to do it. I got a better way to do it. Okay, let's select this back face. Plus up to maybe there, and let's hide that. And let's select, I don't know, let's try this. Plus. Let's at least do this. We'll hide that. And let's select this. Plus. Everything except the front face. And we'll hide that. And that's all of that, eh? Let's select all of that. Sign silver. Let's see if I got everything the way I wanted it. Oh boy. All right, there's a little bit more to go though. Let's take this button and hide it, and let's go into this body here, select this, and come out a ways to there, and let's make this silver as well. Alt H to bring the button back. Let's change this now to black. I've changed my mind about that. Okay, go into it, select it, assign this black. That's cool. We're close. All right. I didn't do the little part up there, but I think you get my drift. Let's take the screen. Let's see if I'm on the screen. Okay, front view. Let's go into edit mode and select the screen. It's hard to tell, but it is selected because I got that emission on it. It's hard to see. I'm going to open up a UV window by pulling that tab across and switch this over to UV image editor. Over with my mouse in this area and this selected, I'm going to hit U and project from view, and I'm going to get that right there. All right, now what I'm going to then do is I'm going to open a reference image. Is this what I'm going to do? Let's see if I got one in here. The lion. All right, let's put the picture of the lion in there. All right, so I got that. Let's now scale this to better fit the lion. Okay, so I'm just box selecting, and I'm going to go GX, go X, or grab X, and grab those points. I'm going to go in the Z direction. Nope, that's what happened. Go Z. Maybe. All right. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Good. Make sure it's assigned. So that's good. Come over here. Everything's looking good. We can now. I'm going to use this now I've now got to go into the node editor. Okay, let's close that. I've got my emission material, and I've got to go Shift A, add texture, image texture, and choose that lion and connect the color to there, and it puts it on. I can now close this, and we are very close. Now there's I think I'm going to try now to just rotate all of this around the X. Rotate X 90, minus 90. So I can just look down on it. Yeah, that's better. Is everything good? Everybody come along for the ride? I still haven't applied the subdivision surfaces. I don't think I'm going to need to. Let's add a plane under here. Way down there. Scale 20, let's say. For material, I'll just choose, I don't know, dark green for now. Okay, just for the fun of it. You doing okay? Video's going still? Okay, now we will bring in, actually I'm going to move this plane to my second frame right there, and let's go Shift A and bring in a camera. I'll bring it up and bring it over, and lock camera to view, close that. O to look through the camera. I'm going to hit the home button to go full screen. Okay, there's my plane right there. Okay. So far so good. I don't know what I want to do here. 80? I don't know. Just give that a try and see how it looks. Let's get out of the camera view and Shift A, add a plane, bring it up over here, scale it 8, let's say. Actually, maybe scale the X just like that. Rotate Y, and give it a material of emission, and let's go with 10. And Shift D will copy it, bring it over here, and we're going to rotate the Y like that. I'll bring it where, maybe I'll bring it up here, and I'll just rotate the Z actually a bit. Make this 6. Let's look through the camera again. Let's select that and select this, and let's move these to the second, there to there, and actually let's select these. Actually, I don't know if I can do them both at the same time, and come over here to cycle settings and choose ray visibility of the camera, so they're not visible to the camera. Why didn't that work? Camera, yeah, so when I just do that, I won't see them. Okay, so what's going on here? Oh, I gotta select my font. This is what it's starting to look like. Okay. There's a few things I'm not crazy about here. So let's come out of there. Let's get out of here. Okay, first of all, these things are just nuts. So let's just push these right the frig down. So just barely visible there. And maybe they should be black. I take it back. Are they not black? Oh no, I don't want silver. Come on, give me a break. I want these as black. Let's go back into material view. Yeah, there's no way I want those silver. There is no way I want those silver. They must be black. So they're barely visible, but they're just there. Oh, move the camera. I also want to do this. No, I'm gonna hide this first. I'm not thrilled with this yet, so let's take this and come back up again to there, and let's make this black again, but let's come back to here and just go maybe that far and make it silver. So it's a little bit of silverness showing, I hope. If I go Alt H, that's still maybe too much. Well, we'll see. Let's come back and look. Let's just have another look at this. Okay. But you can see that it looks very similar to the phone there. In fact, let's make this plain. Let's make this a whiter color. It doesn't have to be super white. Let's make it similar. And let's do a nice render instead of screwing around with a lot of stuff. Let's try 100%, 16, no compression, sampling. Let's try 350. Save it, and we'll let it render. It shouldn't take too long. All right, and we'll see how it turns out. But I mean, this technique seems to work relatively nicely. The idea of using the subds and the plane, you know, to be able to do the boolean type stuff. All right, and it seems to work okay. So we'll just have a look at that as it renders away, and then we'll see. Now, I didn't put any symbols on those side buttons, and I didn't finish the button that would have been here. I just let it go with that, but still, it's not too bad. So I think I'll pause the video here, and then I'll let it finish rendering. I'll get back to you. All right, well, this is the render that I quickly did, and we'll just have a quick look at this when we talk about this. You can see that the technique works relatively well. I think if I had to do this again, I would probably make these silver and probably put the plus and a minus on there, and put the other button there, and then those little dots on there, and I'd probably make this a bit of a bubbly thing, you know, with some curvature, and make it glass and work on the lighting and all that. But this is another shot of it showing the back. But anyways, that's the technique that can be used to create a cell phone. So thanks for watching.